Okay, here are the notes for today. You can print this worksheet out. There's only 4 examples. If not, we can just copy them down on your notebook and follow along here for the steps. The good thing about these notes today is we're really not going to see much new, but we're going to see 2 concepts. One that was applied or that we learned in worksheet A with just the variables, which I'll review for number 1. And then the new thing here that you're going to see are these problems like this that have numbers and variables, and then a power to the outside. All right, number 1. Okay, so this one's review. If you remember, we're working with exponents. We're working with exponents. We learned to simplify that. Only when you get to the number, we need to use the calculator and find cubed roots or fifth roots or any nth roots. But just to review number 1, for these that you just have a variable that has to a power raised to another power. Remember, that is the power rule. Power rule means that if you have an exponent or a power raised to another exponent, you multiply. So that's going to be v, and 8 is 8 to the power of 1 times the 3 over 2, which is the outside. Right, the 3 over 2 is the outside. And then we learned that the power rule, you multiply these, right? Multiply. But you're not going to multiply because you look to cancel, right? For these to divide out or to reduce here, this numerator here and this denominator, we know that those will divide out. Actually, they don't divide out, they simplify. 8 divided by 2, you get 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 8 4 times. Right, this is a review. We learned this in worksheet A. So you're left with 4 over 1 times 3 over 1. That's really 4 times 3, 4 to the power of 12. So remember your steps, we're using rational exponents, and we want to use and work with the exponents. Okay, so that's how we learned. We looked at that back in worksheet A. Now, you're going to see how you're going to use, half of the problem is going to involve this, half of the problem is going to be with a number. Like you see here in problem number 2. We have a number here, and we have a variable. Okay, so here we go, looking at number 2. Okay, well, what this simply means, when you have this, and you notice the parentheses means that this power goes to everything in there. That means the 36 gets the power of 1/2, and I'm kind of splitting this up, right, times, and then that's n4, and then the n4, this variable, also gets this power of 1/2, right? And over here, your side work, you know that a 1 to the power of 2 is really interprets to, right, our little calculator work over here. You know that this really means 36 to the power of 1/2 really means the square root of 36. And that gives you what? 6. Now remember, we're working with exponents, so what does this answer mean? That means that 36 is really what? 6 squared. That's what you're going to write in here, see, because we want to work with exponents. We want to work with exponent raised to this exponent, just like you saw here, a power rule, a power raised to another power. Okay? So the 36, you're going to rewrite it. The 36 is what? 36, you're going to replace 36 with 6 squared. And you still have this what? This 1/2 out here. And then we know here this is going to be 6 2 over 1 times 1 over 2, right? Because you have a power rule again. The 2's here divide out. You always look to reduce, but in this case they divide out. And right now for just this half of the problem, if it's just a number, you get 6 to the power of 1, which 6 to the power of 1 is just 6. But I have to wait for this part, the second part, the variable part. Okay, the variable part I reviewed over here, right back in number 1. The variable, you just deal with the exponents. You don't have to worry about the number or squaring it or finding any nth root. So that'll be what? N to the power of 4. Well, a power times a power, that's 4 over 1 times 1 over 2. And you know what happens here. You look there, see if they divide out. They don't divide, but they simplify. 4 divided by 2, you just get 2. And what do you have left here? 2 over 1, actually, right? So you got n 2 over 1 times 1 over 1. Well, that's just 2 over 1, which is 2. So it's like two separate parts happening. You work with the number the way we learned how to simplify the number. You work with the variable like I reviewed here and we did back in worksheet A. And then in the end, you just bring those two pieces together. And the answer is 6n squared. All right. Okay, let's look at two more. Very similar. Again, this is the new piece here where you'll have a number and a variable raised to a power. So here goes number 3. Okay, so both of these, everything in here gets this power of 4/3, but I'm going to split this up. 125 gets the 4/3, and I'm separating. I'm going to write them into the power 9 also gets the 4/3. Okay. So again, over here for the side work, I need to know 125 is some number. Well, I'm going to find the cubed root, right? We learned how to separate these. Remember, you learn how to separate these and you split this up. 125 to the 1/3, right? We pull out the 1 over 3 here and we leave the 4 out there. Right? And this on the calculator, remember, right here, this calculator piece right here, I'm going to write this in blue. This is just to tell you how to write this 125, and this is giving you a hint. It's going to be something to a power of 3, so that's why we use a calculator here to find the cubed root. The cubed root of 125. The cubed root of 125. You really don't have to do this step. You can just see that there's a 3 here. So we find the cubed root of 125. When you do that on the calculator, we did that in the previous 2 assignments, you're going to get the answer 5. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean that the cubed root of 125 is 5? That means that 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Or another way you're going to rewrite it is 5 cubed, right? Because we want to work with exponents. 5 cubed, or 125 is equal to 5 cubed. 125 is equal to 5 cubed, or 5 cubed is equal to 125. So what I want you to do here is, again, let me just write this over again. So I have the 4/3. We want to keep it like this. It's actually easier. I found the cubed root of it. And instead of this 125, I'm just going to write it again. I'll write the whole problem again. I'm going to replace this 125 with what? 5 cubed. Remember, because you want to work with exponents. you want to work with exponents, or show that you're doing your work with exponents. 125 is 5 cubed raised to the power of this 4/3. And we'll just do this, finish this off simultaneously. I got the n9 also to the power of 4/3. See, I want to see your work like this, where you're showing me the exponents and the power rule here, how it's applied. So this is going to be what? I'm just showing these steps. I know some of you can probably see what's going to happen. Here they divide out. The 3 and divided by a 3 divider, you're left with 5 to the power of 4. And then you'll figure that out in a bit, with this value, how much this is, 5 to the power of 4. Here it does not divide out, but 9 divided by 3 reduces. 9 divided by 3, you just get 3. And then you're really doing what? N to the power of what? 3 times 4. 3 times 4. Alright. Final answer, you're going to get N12 here. Right? 3 times 4 is 12. 5 to the power of 4, you do that on the calculator. We learned that in the previous 2 assignments. That's 625. And that's the answer there. Okay, last one. So this one I'm going to try to not break it up like this, and just go right to using my calculator to figure this out here. Last one, number 4. This is going to be 625, and that gets this power of 5 over 4. And then I also have over here the x12, and that also gets the power of 5 over 4. Okay, so since you see a 4 here, on your calculator you're going to find out what's the 4th root of 625. When you find the 4th root of 625, it's going to be 5. We actually just used it over here, right? 5 to the power of 4 is 625. When you split this up, or you see this, you do the 4th root of 625 is 5. Alright, we just circle it here. The 4th root of 625 equals 5 on the calculator. This helps you give you the base, right? That means that 625 is 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, but you're going to use it as what? You're going to use what? You'll be using what fact? You get this from the calculator, but this is the part you have to understand what this means. This means that 625 is 5. 625 is what? The answer is 5 to what? To the 4th power. And that's what speed replaced here. So because of that, instead of this 625, you're going to write what? 5 to the power of 4. And then you have that 5/4 exponent. And we'll bring this down. And you can work with these and finish them off, right? Because we're working and showing how you're using rational exponents to simplify these problems. Rational exponents. So when you have a power to a power, it's the power you multiply. That's 5, 4 over 1 times 5 over 4. I know that here, this 4 and this 4 divide out. I'm left with 5 to the power of 5. I'll get back to that. Oops, sorry. And then here, same thing. X12 is 12 over 1